Didn't know they let zoo animals into honors class. The hallway froze. Lockers gleamed under fluorescent lights. A poster for homecoming fluttered. Laughter echoed off the tile, then stopped. 3 seniors leaned on their varsity jackets like armor. One spat sunflower seeds. Another held a phone, already recording. The new kid stood just inside the classroom door, backpack still slung over one shoulder. His skin was deep brown, his jaw sharp. His eyes didn't move, fixed forward, calm, unreadable. He didn't blink. He didn't speak. He didn't flinch. Bet he got in here for free. Affirmative action, right? The tallest one barked, louder now, stepping closer. You even speak English, bro? Or just Ebonics? If you believe no kid should be judged by his skin or speech, type respect in the comments. The new boy stepped forward once. No emotion, no challenge. Just a quiet presence, as if the ground shifted slightly beneath his shoes. He opened his hand. A paper fell. A transfer letter bearing the district seal. Honors program. Dual credit status. He glanced at the one filming. You'll want to delete that. His voice was low, controlled, but it carried, "What, you gonna cry to the principal?" The boy with the phone sneered. "No," the new kid said. "I'll give you a warning first." People learn from doorways now. Students craned their necks. A teacher peeked from her office but didn't step in. You could hear the hum of the vending machine. The hallway had gone that way. The jock laughed too hard, shoving the new boy's chest. "Man, go back to wherever the hell you came." Uffo, a thud. A second. A body hit the lockers. Fast, hard death and silence. The tall boy was on the floor, groaning. His varsity jacket now hangs off one shoulder like a broken wing. The other 2 froze, phones suddenly forgotten. One started to move. "Don't." The new boy said, without raising his voice. Security rushed in a second later. Too late. The vice principal followed, shouting, "What happened? Who started this?" The hallway was dead quiet. No one answered Dot except the teacher and the office doorway. She pointed slowly not at the new kid, but at the 3 seniors. They did. The new boy turned to her, just slightly. No nod. Number. Smile. Just an understanding. The VP's face flushed. "You. Come with me? What's your name?" The boy stepped forward, pulled a small black wallet from his backpack. He handed over an ID military issued. His last name is in bold. Then he said it aloud, "Marcus L. Denton. My father's Captain Denton. You'll want to call him, or your superintendent will." The hallway gasped. Even the camera boys dropped their phones slightly. The security guard's eyes flicked to the ID, then to the bruised jock on the floor, then back to Marcus. "Son," he said slowly, "I think you handled it." Marcus turned and walked into the classroom. He didn't look back, but everyone else did. "Bro, you see the way he dropped Zach? Like one move and dude was on the floor." By third period, Marcus's name was everywhere, muttered in locker rooms, scribbled on desks, whispered behind textbooks like legend already forming. Some kids called him Combat Kid. Others whispered, "Don't mess with him, he's military trained." But Marcus didn't feed the fire. He sat in the back of every class, quiet, focused. Never spoke unless called on. Never smiled unless he meant it. Ms. Keller, his English teacher, watched him with curious eyes. She'd seen fights before, seen boys puff up and punch without thinking. But this boy, that takedown in the hallway had been measured. Efficient, controlled. After class, she lingered. Marcus. "A minute?" He waited until the room emptied. "I saw your file," she said gently. 3 schools in 5 years. 2 transfers. 1 out of state. Advanced scores. But you don't say much." Marcus nodded once. Have you ever thought about writing your story? She asked, tilting her head. His expression didn't change, but his eyes flicked to the door. I write when I need to, he said. Her tone softened. The way you handled yourself in the hallway, most kids would have reacted way worse. You didn't. That wasn't just discipline. That was training. A long pause. My uncle was like that, she continued. Taught me how to read people. Said quiet kids are the ones carrying the most weight. Finally, Marcus spoke. My dad says, people don't listen to noise. They react to impact. Ms. Keller blinked. That was the first personal thing he'd said. What does he do? Marcus met her gaze. Combat instructor. Former recon. Taught me to break arms before I could legally drive. She stilled. Her expression didn't shift much, but her hands folded together. And the last school? She asked, softly. He glanced away. A teacher called me a threat. Because I stepped between a girl and her boyfriend. No punches. No noise. Just told him to back up. What happened? I got suspended. They called my dad, and that district dropped the case. But I didn't go back. Double quotes. Miss Keller didn't respond for a long time. Then she said, well, for what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. He gave a tiny nod, nothing more. Then left the room without another word. By lunch, the stories were growing. Someone swore Marcus had broken a Marine's ribs in sparring. Someone else said he once lifted a grown man off the ground just by grabbing his collar. None of it was true. But Marcus let it grow, because noise kept people away, and silence let him breathe. Back home that evening, he dropped his backpack on the kitchen chair. His father looked up from the sink. You handle it? His dad asked. Marcus nodded. Suspended? No. His dad gave a short grunt of approval. Good, you didn't break protocol. They touched first. You warned them? Twice. Then it's their lesson, not yours. Marcus sat down at the table, opened his laptop, and started working on his essay. You know, his father said after a beat, you're not just here to graduate. I know. You're here to prove you can build without breaking. That you're more than what they see. Marcus didn't respond, but he typed faster. His dad wiped his hands on a towel. Son, you've already got the fists. What you need now is the legacy. Marcus stopped typing. Just for a second, then whispered, yes, sir. He didn't even break a sweat, man. Just boom. Zach went down like a sack of potatoes. By Friday, Marcus Denton was a myth walking. He didn't post. He didn't brag. He barely looked up between classes, but that made it worse. Or better, depending on who you asked. Freshmen stared at him like a superhero. Seniors avoided him unless they were trying to act tough. Teachers whispered about him in the lounge, some with concern, some with admiration. But the football team? They didn't like being embarrassed. Zach came back to school with a bruised jaw and a bigger ego. His friends kept the story alive, but they twisted it. I slipped, he said loudly near the vending machines. He sucker punched me. What kind of guy ambushed someone like that? Yeah, it wasn't even a fair fight, said Austin, another linebacker. And now he's acting like some righteous warrior? Nah, he's just a thug with manners. The word hung in the air. A few students flinched. Marcus, walking past, heard it. He didn't stop, but the tension followed him all the way to sixth period. The class was history. The seats were arranged in rows, chalkboard peeling. Posters of Mel K. and Susan B. Anthony faded with time. Mr. Latham stood at the front, reading names off a seating chart. New student, Marcus Denton. Here, Marcus said. He didn't look up, but next to him, something shifted. A girl in a red hoodie, pale skin, sharp blue eyes. Maddie hesitated. She slowly, quietly slid her pencil across the table, then leaned closer and whispered, for what it's worth. I saw the video. You didn't sucker punch anyone. He didn't reply, but he looked at the pencil, a small gesture, unimportant, except it wasn't, because she was Zach's ex. And everyone knew it. In the cafeteria that day, people noticed. She is sitting next to him not stopping her, and Zach, 4 tables down, staring hard enough to burn through walls. By last bell, the whispers turned sharp. Yo, is she really picking him over Zach? She always goes for the broken toys. Nah, she just likes the danger. At his locker, Marcus found something tucked between the vents. A note, folded tight. No name, just 3 words. Go back home. He read it, folded it again, then slid it into his pocket and walked off. Back home, his dad stood at the doorway. He saw the note before Marcus said anything. That from one of the sacred ones? Yeah, his father's eyes darkened. You want me to call the school? Marcus shook his head. No, that gives them power. I'd rather show them I don't break. His dad looked at him for a long time, then nodded. All right, but tomorrow you hold your line. Marcus blinked. What do you mean? His father pointed at him. Tomorrow, you choose how you stand. You don't let them push you left or right, not into rage, not into silence. You decide who you are in that building, not them. Marcus nodded. Slowly, then walked into his room and pulled out the only photo he kept taped above his desk. His mom, in uniform. Her hand resting on his shoulder. Her badge shining. Her eyes are alive. That night, as students posted filtered photos and gossip, one anonymous post spread faster than anything else. A picture of the history classroom. Of Maddie's red hoodie beside Marcus's all-black jacket. Of the 2 of them writing side by side. No caption, just a single emoji. By morning, the school was ready to erupt. Mr. Denton. We just want to make sure everyone feels safe. The counselor's office smelled like lavender hand sanitizer and old paper. Framed degrees lined the walls. A plastic tray of mints sat untouched. Marcus sat still, back straight, hands folded. Eyes calm. Across from him, Ms. Willoughby kept adjusting her glasses. She smiled too much. To someone else it might have felt warm. To Marcus it felt rehearsed. Several students have reported feeling tense since the hallway incident, she said. He said nothing. I know you've had, a few transitions between schools. And we just want to offer you a space where you feel supported, but also help others feel comfortable too. Still silent, she folded her hands. Would you be open to attending a conflict resolution circle? You and Zach both. Maybe Austin too. Marcus blinked. No, he said. Miss Willoughby's smile twitched. Sorry, no circles. No talking in a room with boys who shoved me first. Well, sometimes it's not about blame. It's about restoring trust. There's no trust to restore, Marcus said. His voice didn't rise. They chose violence. I ended it. Another long pause. She tried a softer tone. Marcus, we don't want people to see you as a threat. There it was. The real sentence. Not in her words, but in the way she looked at him. The fear, the expectation, the silent accusation behind the smile. Marcus leaned forward slightly. I've done nothing but follow rules since I got here, he said quietly. The hallway had cameras, so did your stairwell. I've been silent, respectful, and I've kept my head down. A pause. I have every right to exist in this school without being feared. Ms. Willoughby looked like she wanted to say something, but DIDN single quotes T. Then Marcus added, You didn't ask if I felt safe. That hit her. She dropped her gaze. You're right. I apologize. He stood. Are we done? Yes, she murmured. We're done. Outside the office, Maddie was waiting near the lockers. You okay? she asked. Marcus shrugged. They want me to sit in a circle and hold hands with the boys who shoved me into a wall. She laughed under her breath. Let me guess, you said no, faster than they expected. She leaned against the lockers. They're scared of you, you know? I noticed. But here's what they don't get, she said, her voice lowering. You scare them because you don't need to yell. Marcus glanced at her. That's supposed to be a compliment? She grinned. That's supposed to be a warning. That afternoon, Marcus walked into biology late. Everyone turned. The substitute teacher narrowed her eyes. Name? Marcus Denton. Her gaze lingered a second too long, then she pointed. Back corner. Try not to disturb others. He nodded and moved to the seat. As he passed a trio of students, one of them muttered, There goes Captain Black Ops. The words were soft, but not soft enough. Several heads turned. A girl covered her mouth. Marcus sat down without reaction. But behind him, someone else stood up. Maddie. Her voice cut through the room. Say it louder, Derek. Let's all hear how funny it is. The boy blinked. Chill, I didn't mean. No, go ahead, she said, stepping forward. You've got all that noise. Where's your volume now? The room held its breath. The substitute looked lost. What's going on? Marcus finally turned. Just slightly. Ignore it, he said calmly. They're not worth it. Maddie stared at him for a long second. Then she sat back down. The moment passed. But the room didn't forget. By evening, a new post was making its way across school group chats. A screenshot from the security feed. Someone had leaked it. Marcus standing still. Zach lunged. And the takedown. Clean. Undeniable. Caption. Guess who actually started it? By midnight, even the teachers had seen it. Wait, he built that? Monday morning. Room 112 was packed, students leaning against walls, others filming with phones. On the center table, a detailed architectural model of a disaster shelter, complete with solar panels, a 3D printed water filtration system, and real-time sensor feedback. At the corner of the table stood Marcus, quiet, hands behind his back. Not smiling, just waiting. This was the midterm project for engineering concepts, and everyone else brought posters. Marcus brought a prototype. Marcus, said Mr. Yen, blinking at the miniature pressure release valve. You did this alone? Yes, sir. When? Evenings. After training. Training. A few students exchanged glances. Would you like to present? Mr. Yen asked. No slides, Marcus said. He walked the class through the model. Clear, focused, technical but understandable. He explained the insulation foam, the low-cost fabrication. The reason he used cardboard layers for thermal simulation. And when he mentioned why natural disasters affecting low-income neighborhoods first, the room changed. Students who never spoke raised their hands. Even Zach, across the room, shifted uncomfortably. When Marcus finished, there was silence. Then, applause. Not loud, not rowdy, but earned. Mr. Yen stared at the model like it was made of gold. I'm submitting this to regionals, he said. No debate. Marcus just nodded. At lunch, kids who never looked his way came over. Yo, where'd you learn how to build like that? You think you could teach me 3D printing after school? What's your YouTube? That setup had to be online somewhere, right? Marcus just answered what he had to. Nevermore. Maddie sat down beside him, shaking her head. You know, most people get respect by being loud. He sipped his water. Loud fades. She leaned forward. You just changed the whole hallway energy. Without saying 10 words. I'd rather let the work talk. She paused. It's talking, all right. Later that afternoon, Principal Rowe called Marcus into his office. This time, no counselor. No fake smiles. Rowe stood. Extended a hand. I saw your project. Impressive. Marcus shook it. Thank you. Rose sat, and I saw the security footage. I've made some calls. We'll be adjusting our response going forward. Meaning, they knew they screwed up. I hope you'll consider joining the STEM leadership team, Rose said. We need students like you visible ones. Marcus met his eyes. I'm not a poster, Rose chuckled. Fair, but you are an example. I'm a kid who didn't ask for trouble, and still got followed into it. Rose nodded. Understood. And I'm not done yet. By the end of the week, something shifted. Marcus wasn't feared. He was watched. But not like before. People noticed how he treated the janitor, how he helped the quiet kid in algebra without ever making it a thing, how he corrected a student misgendering someone in class without theatrics, just their name's Alex. Use it. And slowly, the fear turned to something else. Respect. Then came the moment no one expected. During a student assembly, the AV system glitched. The principal's slides wouldn't load. Students started groaning. And from the tech booth, a voice called out, "Try bypassing the mirror gate and rerouting input through HDMI 2. Rose blinked. What? Marcus was already walking down the aisle. He moved through the crowd like it wasn't there, stepped into the booth, pressed 3 keys, and rewired the connection. 10 seconds later, screen fixed. Applause again. But this time it was louder, proud, unified. And sitting in the back row, arms folded, was Zach. Alone, watching as the school gave Marcus a round of applause he never had to ask for. Some of us are wondering what kind of message this school is sending. The microphone crackled. A man in a tailored blazer stood at the center of the auditorium. His voice was polished like a local news anchor who thought he was smarter than everyone else. His name was Greg Walters, Zach's father. Are we teaching discipline, he said slowly, or are we celebrating violence? A ripple moved through the audience. Teachers, parents, students. Marcus sat in the third row with his father, both silent, both still. Greg pointed toward the back, where a blown-up photo of Marcus's engineering model was displayed on an easel. Now, I'm not saying the young man isn't talented, he said, dripping with fake courtesy. But talent doesn't excuse aggression. Let's be honest, a boy like that, with that kind of training, it's dangerous. That word, dangerous. The way he said it, it echoed. Like Marcus was a weapon, not a human. Rose stayed seated. So did the board. Everyone waited for someone else to speak, but Marcus stood, walked forward, climbed the small stage, and took the second mic. I'm Marcus Denton, he said evenly. His voice wasn't raised, but it carried. I transferred here 4 weeks ago. I've been in 5 schools. I've made straight A's since 8th grade. I've never failed a class, never been expelled, never started a fight. The room was quiet. When I was shoved in the hallway, I gave 2 warnings. When I defended myself, I used less force than I was trained to. I walked away. I stayed quiet. I followed every rule. He paused, but the rules didn't protect me from being labeled. Not by the other students, not by staff, and not by parents who still see my skin before my conduct. A murmur. Someone gasped. But Marcus didn't flinch. I'm not angry, he said. I'm tired. Tired of pretending that silence keeps me safe. Tired of acting like discipline erases suspicion. Tired of smiling so people don't feel threatened when I walk in a room. He looked directly at Greg. I'm not dangerous, but I am done apologizing for making you uncomfortable. Dead silence. Then dash applause. Slow. Then louder. Maddie stood first. Then Mr. Yen. Then Miss Keller. Then the rest of the room, except for Greg. His mouth pressed into a thin, sour line, but he didn't speak again, because there was nothing left to say. Outside the auditorium, Rose caught up to Marcus. That was bold. Marcus turned. You invited voices. Rose nodded. and yours mattered most. Then his dad walked over, clapped a hand on Marcus's shoulder. That's the voice your mom would have been proud of. Marcus didn't say anything, just nodded. And held that moment like armor. Back at school the next day, Marcus found a sticky note on his locker. Just one word: respect. No name, no signature. It stuck. Did you see this? You're literally on the homepage. Maddie shoved her phone in Marcus's direction. He blinked. Then read the headline. High school student stuns school board with viral speech on race and discipline. Below it, a video thumbnail. Him on stage, hand resting lightly on the podium, eyes steady, the audience mid-applause behind. Him. Marcus stared at it. I didn't even know they were recording. They always are, Maddie said. Especially when truth shows up uninvited. He didn't respond, but by second period, it was clear. The whole city had seen it. His inbox flooded. Local journalists, civil rights groups, college recruiters. Even a podcast host messaged, would love to amplify your voice 30-minute remote interview. Mr. Yan printed the article and pinned it to the wall. Ms. Keller teared up during class and had to excuse herself. Marcus just tried to stay normal. He still ran laps at dawn, still sat in the back row of math, still answered questions with exactly the number of words required, but something had shifted. Now, people didn't whisper when he walked by. They nodded. Some even said, thank you. Then came the assembly. Rowe took the mic and gestured toward Marcus and the audience. We don't always get to choose when history taps our shoulder, the principal said. But when it does, we can either flinch or rise. He lifted a certificate for courage, for clarity, for quiet strength when it mattered most. Marcus Denton, please come up. The applause was thunderous. Marcus stood slowly, eyes scanning the crowd. Even Zach clapped, hesitantly, but visibly. He walked up, took the award, didn't smile, didn't pose. He just whispered, thank you, and left the stage. But inside, something cracked open. Not a weakness. Not ego. Pride. A kind he hadn't allowed himself to feel in a long time. That night, as he and his father ate in silence, his dad finally spoke. You know they'll come for you now, right? Marcus looked up. Who? People who didn't listen before. People who don't want to hear it again. Some will act supportive. Some will act threatened. But now, they all see you. Marcus leaned back. What do I do? You decide. Who gets to keep seeing you? You don't owe access to everyone just because you spoke once. Then his dad handed him something, a letter, from his mom's old unit. She'd once been given the same award for moral clarity under pressure. He read it 3 times, didn't say a word, just folded it and placed it in the same drawer as the transfer papers. Later that weekend, Marcus sat on his bed scrolling through comments under the video. Most were supportive, but one stuck out, another angry kid with a chip on his shoulder playing the victim. Y'all gonna give him a trophy every time he talks? He stared at it, read it again, then closed his phone. He could feel his mother's photo above the desk, watching. Instead of replying, he opened a blank document. Typed the words, I am not your threat. I am your mirror. Then he kept writing. The poster was new. Bias reporting system. Speak up. Be heard. Posted near every classroom door. A QR code. A promise of confidentiality. And at the bottom corner, inspired by the Marcus Denton Initiative. He hadn't asked for that name, hadn't suggested it. But there it was. I didn't mean to make it about me, Marcus told Rowe, arms crossed, standing outside the main office. Rowe smiled. It's not about you. It started with you. And honestly, we needed a reason to act. You gave us one. Marcus didn't respond, because that was the hard part. He didn't want to become a symbol. He just wanted to be a student, But the school was changing. Miss Willoughby's office now had a stack of updated counseling forms that actually asked students about discrimination. The social studies class added a unit on systemic bias led by Mr. Latham, who admitted he had blind spots. Even the security team was retrained, and in the middle of it all, students began watching themselves. Less trash talk, less side-eye when someone different walked in. More questions like, "Hey, that joke okay with you?" Instead of assuming silence meant comfort. It wasn't perfect, but it was a movement. Then came the offer. Roe approached Marcus after class. "We want to form a student equity council to review complaints, recommend policy, help lead assemblies. Quiet work, real impact." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You want me on it?" "I want you to hear it," he exhaled. "I'll think about it." Roe nodded. "That's fair." That night, over dinner, his dad said, "You don't have to be everyone's hero." "I know, but if you do it, don't let the weight replace your will." Marcus set his fork down. "What if I mess up?" His father shrugged. "Then you get back up, you fix it. That's what real leaders do. They fail to be visible." Marcus nodded, quiet, still unsure. The next morning, he found something in his locker. A folded index card. No name. Inside, a handwritten note. "When I was pushed into the locker room wall, no one helped me. But when I saw you stand on that stage, I felt seen for the first time. Please keep speaking. Some of us still can't." Marcus held the card for a long time, then slipped it into the same folder as the award. By the following week, the Student Equity Council was formed. 12 students. Different backgrounds. Different voices. One mission: accountability and inclusion. Marcus agreed to chair it. He didn't give speeches, didn't pose for photos. But when the council met for the first time, he opened with one sentence: "We're not here to punish people. We're here to help this place wake up." And they listened. One of their first acts? Requesting a mural, painted by students. It showed a figure standing at the center of chaos. A hallway. A door opened behind him, sunlight in front, shadows behind. The words across the top: "I don't have to shout to be heard." They never labeled the mural, never said who it was, but everyone knew. It started with a screenshot, a blurry photo of Marcus looking tired, his eyes half closed during a class presentation, posted anonymously on a student gossip page with the caption, "Our new king is too tired from all his speeches to stay awake in class." At first, it seemed like a joke. Then came the comments: "He's not a leader, he's just good at playing the victim. Bet he staged the whole locker room thing. Why's he always getting special treatment? We've all had stuff happen." Within hours, 3 more posts appeared. One falsely claimed Marcus had shoved a girl in the hallway. Another showed a cropped photo of him standing in the principal's office, implying he was constantly in trouble. The worst? An AI-generated image of him behind bars. Maddie found him in the library after school. He was sitting in a corner, hoodie up, phone face down. She slid into the seat next to him. "They're cowards." He didn't move. "Cowards hide," she said. "They whisper and post and smear because they know they'd lose if they stepped into the light." Still silent. "You gonna say something?" she asked. Marcus finally looked up. His voice was low. "Why should I keep fighting in a place that still wants me gone?" She didn't answer. Didn't need to. Because just then, Ms. Keller appeared. In the doorway. "I need you both," she said. "Come with me." The gym was quiet. Just a handful of students painting the last edge of the mural. One of them, Jules, a trans sophomore, walked over holding a paintbrush. "I saw the stuff." "Online," they said to Marcus. "It's garbage." He didn't respond. Jules stepped closer. "When I got cornered in the locker room last year, no one said a word. But when you stood up in that board meeting, I stopped hiding my voice. Marcus swallowed hard. And if they're coming for you now, Jules continued, that just means you shook something real. Behind them, another student handed Marcus a folded piece of paper. He opened it. Just 2 words. Don't leave. That night, he sat on his bed, phone buzzing with new posts, some hateful, some supportive. His dad stood in the doorway. Are you still standing? Marcus looked up. Barely. That's enough, his father said. You think strength means not falling. It doesn't. It means not quitting when you do. A long pause. You taught this place how to face itself. His dad added, now teach them how to stand up when someone tries to knock that mirror down. The next morning, Marcus walked into school head high, hoodie off. He passed the mural, paused, then pulled a Sharpie from his bag. Under the words, I don't have to shout to be heard, he added a signature, Mendy. And in a quiet wave of resistance, students began posting real photos of Marcus online. Him helping with tutoring, him fixing the projector, him standing with the Equity Council. One post went viral, a photo of Marcus sitting beside a crying freshman in the stairwell, arms wrapped around his knees. No caption, just, he stayed until I could breathe again. The last bell of the year rang, lockers slammed shut. Yearbooks shuffled in backpacks. Seniors screamed countdowns in the hallways. Juniors threw confetti and relief into the air. But in the west wing of the school, an entire hallway had gone silent, not because of fear, because of what had just been unveiled. Newly painted walls, fresh light fixtures, a mural cleaned and sealed with glass. And above it all, in sleek metal lettering, the Marcus Denton Equity Hall, no stage. No microphone. Just a line of students, quietly walking through the space, reading, looking, absorbing. A plaque was mounted near the entrance. It read, in honor of the student who reminded us that power doesn't shout, it listens. Who taught us that strength isn't how hard you hit, but how hard you hold the line. And who proved that one voice calm, clear, and unshaken can wake. A school up. Marcus stood just outside the hallway with his father. He hadn't been told. No announcement. Just brought here. Quietly. His dad glanced over. That look in your eyes, that's not a surprise. Marcus shook his head. It's not. What is it then? Marcus exhaled. It's peace. Maddie appeared beside them, holding her yearbook. They did it without telling you, she said. Marcus shrugged. Good. That means they did? It for real, she smiled. So what now? He looked around the hall. The plaque, the mural, the crowd that moved with him now, not against him. I walk out of here the same way I walked in, he said. Alone? She asked. He turned toward her. No, seen. Outside, students waited with cameras. A local journalist waved from the sidewalk, hoping for a final quote. Teachers lined the entrance, clapping students out one by one, but Marcus didn't run. Didn't pose, he walked, one step at a time. Past the place where they first doubted him. Past the locker where he found that hateful note. Past the office where they tried to contain him. And as he reached the door, someone shouted, "Thank you, Marcus." He didn't turn. He didn't wave, but he smiled. At home, he placed the plaque from his engineering award beside the one from the school board. Then he opened his drawer where he kept the transfer paper, the anonymous thank you card, his mother's letter, the photo of them both. He folded them into one portfolio and sealed it shut. On the cover he wrote, "Proof that I stayed." Weeks later, long after the post stopped and the news cycle moved on, a student wandered into the Equity Hall during orientation. A new freshman, shy, brown-skinned, wearing a jacket too big for his shoulders. He stopped in front of the mural. Read the quote. Then turned to his mother. "Who's Marcus Denton?" She smiled. Someone who didn't need a spotlight to change everything.